Okay, this is just about being disappointed in many of my people I used to admire, and or some people who I didn't admire but who still surprised me during the COVID era. First off, I would have to put a lot at Bernie Sanders' feet, who never spoke out against the mandates after all his talk about Big Pharma over the years. Same is true of President Trump, who didn't speak out against Joe Biden's mandates, President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris's mandates. Trump didn't speak out against them, and neither did Biden, neither did Sanders. So Senator Sanders, an independent, a Democrat, Biden, and a Republican, quote-unquote, Trump. All took away our right to bodily autonomy during the COVID scare, while at the same time Roe versus Wade was overturned, and they started talking about women's rights, but they didn't talk about the people's rights and women's rights to choose not to get a COVID shot, for which they were not in danger. Anybody under 50, under 35, without a comorbidity was not in danger. So to tell women in that age group and men in that age group, are young, I'm 63, but people under 35, that they could help out in any way while they so anyways, yeah, who am I disappointed with? There's three politicians right off the top. Throw in Governor Baker and Maura Healey, and the way Governor Cuomo and now Governor Horschel run New York, and Governor Newsom runs California. It's a non-scientific regime pretending to be scientific by telling people that they should be afraid and therefore comply. So yeah, I just want to back out, not for my sake, because I don't know, I got through it, but I don't know how anybody under 35 can make sense of what just happened. It was a full court press on your rights to informed consent and right of refusal, and the right to bodily autonomy. Hey, look over there, they're taking away your Roe versus Wade rights. They're not, meanwhile, we're taking away these rights that have never been taken away before. That you can't reject a medical procedure. Is Goebbels dead? I thought Goebbels was dead. I thought Hitler was dead. So, no, and then when you had Howard Stern in September of 2021 demonizing the unvaccinated, and Howard and Ralph Nader going so far as to say, well, it's mostly Republicans and they're going to die out. And you had Ricky Gervais, and you had Gene Simmons, and you had Jennifer Aniston. I don't want to date with her anymore. How can you close-minded can you get? People manipulate you because you're of fear. You should be afraid. You were never in danger, Jennifer. And to them to have pulled that over on you, you should have been more measured. At least for yourself in the future. It's not about me and my rights to say no. It's about everybody and their rights to informed consent and to say no. And it shall not be abridged. It's in the First and the Fourth Amendment. It's in the Nuremberg Code, and it's in the UN Declaration of Human Rights, so that the concerted effort to have us forget that in the middle of an emergency is not okay. And again, so there was many other politicians who amazingly, including the ACLU, my gosh, and no one spoke out against CEO Bourla from Pfizer when he called people on national television criminals No one said, oh, well, that's a conflict of interest. They said, you're right, they are criminals. They're questioning Pfizer's science. What? How did the media not even be our watchdogs for us? You had a bunch of Dobermans in the house. German Shepherds who terrorized Americans as simple as Chicken Little. No, so let's get the Republican, Democrat, Independent triumvirate out. Those three guys, put them out to pasture. And don't forget CharlieBaker and Cuomo and Newsom. You know, put them out to pasture, please. Making sense of that, some of the mealy-mouthed exclamations. You can't spread it and you won't get it and you can protect your grandma, was the mantra. But that took advantage unnecessarily and cruelly, to some extent, of the younger generation under 40s sympathies, because if they weren't in the morbidity class and taking the shot didn't prevent them from giving it or getting it, what was the purpose of forcing them to get it? And what's the purpose of the FDA now adding, 24 shots to the childhood schedule? We're getting up over 70 now. It was like 2 or 3 in the 60s, 10 in the 70s, 20 in the 80s, and now there's, it's up over 45. And after all said and done, it's June 21st, 2023. They never segmentized the market, and it was an exercise in scaring the whole population. So freaking unnecessary. People over 60 die of the flu. Not that often. And definitely, COVID does not impact young people. So what was happening when we were being yelled at? And being told by Biden and Harris, I won't mandate it. I'll never mandate Trump's warp speed vaccine. Who would do such a thing? He thinks you should drink bleach. Then they become president and vice president, and they mandate it on us. I mean, if you wouldn't take it, why do I have to take it? What the fuck? No, it's not okay. It's not okay for all these governments just to sweep it under the rug and hopefully there's no pushback, when in fact there should be pushback. Their numbers don't work. For anybody under 40. Their numbers do not work. And we shouldn't be spending taxpayer dollars for half-baked fake vaccines.